around the room and introducing. It was important for me to hear where you came from, your location. We're bringing our team in from all over, all areas. And not only that, but to let me know what impresses you as a guest when you go into a restaurant. What are some things that you're looking for? And what are some things that we heard? We love consistency. We love quick service. But at the same time, we love to be pampered. We love it to be quiet. Sometimes we want it to be a party atmosphere. We want to sit at the bar, right? So there's different things that drive us to the restaurant. Does Andiamo have every single one of those things that we were talking about? Absolutely, they do. Absolutely. So if you're coming to dine in with your family, you're coming to a birthday party, a celebration, an anniversary, you know that you're going to be able to take that hour and a half or that 2 hours and really enjoy yourself. If you want something fast and quick, you know you can come in for lunch and sit at the bar and you will have a lunch menu. I love the steak roll-up from Livonia, and I'm sad to see nobody's here from Livonia, and it's amazing. And I watched Chef back in the back, and he didn't know I was watching him, but he was cutting from the tenderloin, and it went in the wrap. And then I had the zip sauce, and I had the fries with the zip sauce. Amazing for $10. Real food for $10. How many of you have ever ordered a hot and ready pizza? Right? But then you don't just leave with one. You got to get the breadsticks and the sauce and maybe you're going to order another one, right? And so now, guess what? You just spent all that money, and did you get real food? Not really. You didn't get real food. And then at the end of it, you're still hungry. I can't figure that out. Why did I just eat a whole pizza and I'm still hungry? But when I go to Andiamo and I'm having real food, guess what? Now I'm full. You can have a smaller portion of real food and be full. And do you know what I mean when I say real food? It's not coming out of a box. Exactly. It's not coming out of a can, and we didn't open it from a jar. It's real food. So when we get back, we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to talk about the standards and some of the policy and procedures. But I do want to focus on standards, because at the end of the day, if we go to a restaurant and we have amazing food, but our service stinks, it ruins everything. And guess what? I'm going to now go and try to find that same food somewhere else where I know my service is going to matter to that, to me, and that person cares about me. So now we're going to move into talking about the 5-star standards. And I do want to say that I have been honored and privileged to be working alongside of the best in the industry. Now, when I started in the business, and I'll say the casino hospitality business, I started out as a table games dealer. I thought I would do something different. I worked in hotels before that. I was the front desk supervisor, and I loved it. Before that, I worked in a hospital. So what I really enjoy is working with people, showing them that I care. I love working with all cultures, all races from all over the world, being in that melting pot on what makes people people. And when I went to MGM, I was working at a hotel, and I thought, I'm going to step outside of my comfort zone, outside of the box, do something different and exciting. And so I became a table games dealer. And I dealt blackjack and baccarat. Very cool, fun games. Every day was a new day. Every day was a party. Every day could have been miserable, but I chose not to. I've been swore at in every language. Every language. And it's okay, because I still carried myself the same way. I am who I am. And I did not allow anyone to steal my joy, because that's my joy. So instead of me going down to their level, so say you have a customer that's complaining, or even a team member that's complaining, I'm that person that I'm not going to step inside of that square, but I'm going to bring you outside into my square. Does that make sense? Yeah, because one person, if they're not happy, of course they have to vet and they have to get it out. And that's what our customers do when they're not happy with a situation. That's what we do if we're not happy with a situation. It's human nature, right? Well, my goal always is to be the best of whatever I do. My grandmother told me when I was a little girl, she said, even if you're cleaning toilets, clean them the best way you can, because you're putting your signature on that job. Everything that you do, you are putting your signature on it. It's either going to say, this is Marie Therese, I take pride in what I do and I'm outstanding, or you know what, this is Marie Therese and I don't give a shit. For lack of a better word, that just kind of summarized it. But you know what I mean, right? And Beth's like, ooh, she's warm. But you really show that you care, and your signature is going to be on it regardless of if you care or if you don't care. So that being said, I wanted to be the best of the best at my craft. Did I know anything about dealing in table games at a casino? Not a thing. Raw. Couldn't tell you. I didn't even play. I didn't even gamble. I didn't even play cards. Couldn't even tell you. If I played cards, I got lucky, and that's it. But I went in, and I went all in. That's a casino expression. I went all in. And I wanted to be the best of what I did. Because I didn't just want to deal a $5 game. I wanted to deal to the millionaires and the billionaires of the world. I wanted to have a bankroll in front of me that you can't even imagine on a good day. It's ridiculous the amount of money that goes through a casino. I dropped more money in one day than your average bank does in your neighborhood. And it's amazing to think people have that kind of money, but they do. And they play with it, and it's entertainment. So because I wanted to be the best of the best, what did I do? I chose a mentor that didn't even know I was admiring them. I didn't say, will you be my mentor? I didn't say, I admire you, but I would watch, and I would listen, and I would learn, and I would ask questions. So I had managers who had been in the business 30 to 40 years, that I would pick their brain, but then I had one table games dealer that I loved to watch. Her name was Star, and she was a star. She dealt in the high limit room, and she filled her tip box up. Not once, not twice, sometimes 5 times in a day. Not with just $25 chips, but $100 chips. Sometimes $1,000 chips. And I thought, there's money to be made in this industry. I'm going to make that money. So what I did, and I wanted to grow in the industry. I didn't want to flatline where I was, because there's always something to strive to become. And so I thought, well, I'll be a supervisor one day, and I'll be a pit boss, because I used to walk in like I owned the place. Anyway, that's one of the things that my grandmother said. When you walk in and you work at a place, you walk like you're the owner. You look at things like you're the owner, because you will be the owner one day, right? And so I would, and not that I was trying to be arrogant or cocky or better than anybody, but I just decided that I'm going to walk a little bit taller, because my other grandmother said, the taller you walk, the better your posture, the younger you are, the younger you look, and the younger you feel. I thought, oh, I'm always going to be young. That's what I want. And so I took all of those little morsels and nuggets with me. I watched Star do her thing every day, how she interacted with the customer. So now when you're on a game, you are a banker, you've got a bankroll, you're a security officer, you're an entertainer, you're a customer service representative, you're there to make sure everybody's having a great time all the time. How many of you have been to a casino before? Raise your hand. How many of you have seen that dealer that looked like you were taking their money? Grouchy, not smiling. Right, who's going to play at that table? Not me. I'm not playing at that table, because they want my money. They are not happy that they're at work today. I'm going to take it like it's theirs. Thank you for playing. Have a good day. And then you're like, what just happened? So what I did, and I'm sharing this story for a reason. So what I did is I wanted those customers to love me. And I wanted to love them, even though they were swearing at me in every language. And so what did I do? I became the dealer. I wasn't Marie Therese, I was the dealer, third person. So when they were swearing at me, they weren't swearing at me, they were swearing at the dealer, right? Because I separated myself. It wasn't personal. It had nothing to do with me. But what did have to do with me was how they felt. And so what I did was I would leave them with a great feeling. Hello, welcome to the table. My name's Marie Therese. I'll be your dealer today. Good luck. If they were smoking, they had already had an ashtray in front of them. When the cocktail waitress was around, excuse me, would anybody like a drink? Do you know what I mean? Because sometimes those cocktail servers will walk by and they'll ask for a drink, but you're so focused in on your hand, you don't have time to look up. So I was their everything. So with that being said, I became the highest tipped dealer at MGM Grand Detroit, period, and I still hold the record. And I'll check on it. And they were sad to see me go because I got promoted up. And this is what happened. One day, I got that phone call. I decided to step out in faith. I wanted to buy a condominium. Moved out of the apartment, moved into the condominium, and I said, I don't know how I'm going to pay for this thing. But I believe that my reward is coming. I'm going to make it happen. And so I bought the condo. I'm like, ooh, now what? Now I got to pay for it. So then I got that phone call, and I believe it was on a Friday. I got that phone call, and it was the unknown number. Nick, you heard this story, so bear with me. You know, that one number that says no caller ID, or do you know the one I'm talking about? You don't answer it because you think it's a bill collector. Right. Well, it was that phone call, and I didn't answer it. Well, I wasn't going to answer it, and something inside me said, that's that phone call you've been waiting for. Because every time there was a promotion, I would always apply for that promotion. And I just had a baby, and I didn't have all the table games that you needed to get promoted, but I still did it anyway, because I wanted my boss to know that I was interested in moving up the ranks. And so I did. And I answered the phone, and it was the vice president of table games from MGM Grand calling me on my phone at home saying, Marie Therese, we have a position for you. It has your name all over it. Would you like this position? And you know what that position was? Training. We want you to teach people how to smile. We want you to teach people how to feel good. That's the hardest job I ever accepted. He said, you don't have to give me your answer today, but give it to me when you're ready. He said, will you be ready by next Friday? I said, absolutely. That never happens, where a vice president calls you at home and said they have a job just for you with your name all over it. We have to post it. We have to make it fair. But you know what? Marie Therese would pick you in advance. So I took the job and I loved it. So I got to work with Forbes Travel Guide. They're training executives, and I was able to learn every single standard that was in place, and then meet with my managers. I had 32 managers that I would meet with, and then we would talk about strengths and weaknesses. How many of you have strengths? Raise your hand. Do you know what your strengths are? We're going to go around the room. I want you to tell me what your strength is, Michelle. Kindness. Ramon. Oh, excuse me, Sabina. Honesty, kindness, honesty. Cooking. Multitasking. Compassionate. Personable. Your strength, Denise. What is your strength? Passion. Kindness. Ambition. Hard worker. Good. Optimistic. Yes.
Optimistic is a good one. But yeah, I care.
Caring. Excellent, Missy. Trustworthy.
100% effort every time.
100% effort every time. Determination. Positive. Attitude. Excellent. Intuitive, Mary Beth. Excellent. Genuine and caring. And personality. Communication. Hard worker. Motivated. People person. Hard worker. Effort. Excellent. And what is my strength? Thank you for that. You're like, we don't know Marie Trees. But I think my strength is being uplifting people, and to take a bad situation and make it a good situation no matter what. We have amazing strengths. What is your strength, Tom?
I thought you forgot about it.
I did not. I'm coming back to you.
What's the optimism?
Optimism. Walter, what is your strength?
Strength.
Strength is strength. Hallelujah. Bam! and I think a strength is a leadership. Leadership is important, and I am a natural born leader. Like many of you in this room, you're natural born leaders. And I say that anybody that's in the restaurant industry is an entrepreneur. Because ultimately, at the end of the day, this is your business, right? Do you have the power to give yourself a raise? Yes, you do. Every single day, you have the power to give yourself a raise. So, that being said, I want to share the standards that I learned with you. This right here that I'm showing you is just a sample of what you do naturally. But what we're doing is we're really going to focus in on our strengths. Do we have weaknesses? Okay, do we want to go around the room and talk about our weakness? No, the strength was enough for retreats. So what is my weakness? I have a big heart, so that's my weakness. So somebody can take advantage of somebody with a big heart, or somebody can step on somebody with a big heart. So that's why I consider it a weakness. But then a big heart can also build somebody up. So it's just a part of who I am. But what I want you to do is realize that we all have a weakness. But that weakness doesn't have to stay weak, right? We can build it up. Just like I said, you can be taken advantage of, but then you can also know that that is a part of that weakness, and then you can stand up and bring in your leadership, your strength, right? Now I'm going to bring in my leadership, and I'm going to be intuitive. Who said intuitive? Mary Beth? And I'm going to discern if I'm going to be taken advantage of or not. So do you see how your weaknesses and your strengths play off of each other? And so that's really, really important to know when you're out there in the restaurant industry and you're with your team. Cliff, when you're out there with your team, I see how you work. And this man takes pride in everything he does, from bringing out the supplies and putting them down to shelling. What was it that you were shelling that day?
Oysters.
The oysters. Oh my gosh. You have to have some muscle to shell those oysters, right? But everything he did had his signature on it, and it was so amazing. So now by the end of this segment, right now that we're talking about, you will understand the importance of delivering the highest guest excellent service and the satisfaction, and be able to implement these standards easily and effectively with every meal, every request, every time, every day, and to every guest, right? Now, one of the things that I noticed, if you're coming in brand new, and we're all there at some point in our lives, even though we worked in the restaurant industry or the hospitality industry, now we're brand new, all of a sudden it doesn't feel comfortable anymore because we're in a new space, right? Sabina, you're relating to that right now, huh? And we're in a new space, so it's intimidating. And what is it that's going to help you get past that level of intimidation? Danielle, what helps you get past that? Doing your job. But
Learning how to do it and do it right.
Learning how to do your job and do it right. Now, what did that just do? That intimidation became confidence. Now I have the tools and the keys that I need to unlock my confidence. I'm going to go out there and I'm going to nail this. I know about the wines. I know about this food. I know about the expectations for the standards that I'm supposed to be upholding. So, for example, what is our cell phone policy? Who knows? We're going to talk about that later in policies and procedures, but I'm going to, yes?
Either not on site or put away out of reach.
Not on site or put away out of reach. So, say for example, you have a brand new team member that comes in that doesn't even know that rule exists, and they're on their phone and they get yelled at. Is that fair?
No.
No. Well, common sense would say don't be on your cell phone at work.
Right.
But if that new team member sees other people that are on their cell phones at work, there's a bad habit. Now that existing team members just showed a bad habit to a brand new team member. So that's what this training is all about, knowing our expectations, what to expect, setting you up for success. What is it that your role needs that you need to know from your role? Do you know what I mean? So we're going to talk about those things. So what are standards? What are they?
What you're up to uphold.
Say it again,
You have
Missy.
to uphold them.
You have to uphold them, but what are the thems? What are standards? Guidelines, expectations, Tom? Expectations, exactly. Standards are specific measurements of performance. You may want to take a note on some of this stuff. They're achievable at all levels. So we're not going to give you a standard that is unachievable. That's not very fair, is it? Not at all. They're achievable when we're busy or when we're slow. Standards are realistic in their expectations. They're non-negotiable. Darn it. We could just have a negotiable standard. Are there some that are negotiable? Maybe at home. They're a job requirement. And most of all, they set us apart from our competition. So just like earlier, we talked about some of our favorite restaurants. Did they have standards in place? Some of them did. They had some good standards in place. Just like Nick, when you were talking about your favorite restaurant, are there standards in place there? Tremendously. And so we're going to recognize when there's high standards and low standards, because there's high standards, right? And there's low standards. What's an example of a low standard? Yes. Okay, go on.
I don't see the restaurant, but are we talking about the restaurant?
We can talk about whatever you want to talk about with a low standard.
So like not attentive, like
Not attentive. That's a low standard. Somebody is slacking. How many of you have ever worked with a slacker? Raise your hands. Oh, the whole room. Yes, we have. And what happens when you're working with a slacker? You have to do more work. And so their standards are lower than yours. So here at Joby Carey Restaurant Group, we are all on the same standards. And if somebody is not up to standard, because it is a system, we are able to say, look, I'm doing a lot. Is there something that I can help you with today? Please let me know. I notice you're not performing the way you normally do. You don't really want to come at somebody head on, right? Because sometimes people might be having something going on at home that we're unaware of. And it does happen, especially if they normally have a high standard and then today they come in with a lower standard. Have you ever seen that in some of your coworkers? Absolutely, absolutely. So do we want to go and gossip about them on the side and talk about them, or do we really want to find out what's going on? Let me help you. And so that's how it would be like with our guest. If they came in and they were sitting at our table and we noticed that there's something different about them today. They look a little bit more sad today. That's where our intuition comes in, right, Mary Beth? So, tell me what's going on today. How are you? I sing that in a hostess. I went to Livonia, Andiamo, and I said, how are you today? It's so good to see you. And like Tom says, Marie-Trish, you're always so bubbly. What's going on? And I noticed right away in her eyes, there was sadness in her eyes. And I said, oh my goodness, how are you? And she said, I'm doing well, I'm fine. But I seen it in her eyes and I said, no, really, what's going on? And she started crying. She said, my boyfriend was just diagnosed with he has to get a kidney transplant. And so I let her cry for a minute. I said, it's going to be okay. Because that's not a death sentence. That's the good news. And this, and I just brought her up. And before I left, she was smiling and she was in a great mood. But it's being able to identify people and not be so caught up in what we're doing that we're unable to connect to another human being. Especially in this business, it's all about connections and making connections, right? Whether you're in the back of the house washing the dishes, you're still, Matthew, you're making a connection. And not only that, Matt is back there planning his future, right? This is something, if this is something that really gets him stirred up, he's going to move into the next level of Andiamo. And you work at our Fenton location, or Clarkston? Clarkston? So you have Dan and Doug over there, and they're awesome. And this is one of the things as managers and GMs in this group, we have that eye, that intuition that says, you want to move up, or you know what, you have no interest in us whatsoever. And so we're going to build on you. We're going to see that in you. So if you're willing, like Michelle, you're willing, we're going to put you there in the front lines, if that's where you want to be. Jojo, is that where you want to be?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you there now?
I'm working my way.
I think you are. I think you are. So that's what the standards are. We want when people come into our restaurant to know we have high standards. Guest service excellence is important. Why? I mean, there you go. Remind me of your first name.
Nicholas.
Nicholas. It was okay, Nicholas.
Just as you said before, if the food's great, service sucks, then you might as well just find somewhere else that serves the same food and has the expectations you want.
Exactly. I'm gonna hang it up. How many people are gonna do that? Raise your hand. Okay, I embarrass my boys all the time. I remember going to a Red Robin. That's back when Red Robin was a thing. You know what? You're gonna go there for a great burger. I was so excited to go for that great burger that I waited in line for 25 minutes and the place wasn't busy. I'm like, let's go back there. And then we get seated, and we're seated right there in the front, in a high traffic area, when there's other availability in the back. And I said, well, okay, maybe they're expecting somebody. Maybe they have reservations. I don't know. I didn't know Red Robin, right? So then we finally get seated, and we're ignored for another 15 minutes before our drink came. Now Mama's not happy. Now I'm hungry and I've been waiting, and why is this? This is unacceptable. But I held on because my son said, Mom, don't embarrass me. And I think he was a teenager, a young teenager, tweener at the time, and you don't want to embarrass a tweener, right? You just don't. And so at any rate, they came and they took the order and brought the burger cold. That was it. I'm done. I'm just like, you know what? I'm done. I need to speak with the manager because, first of all, I'm not going to pay for any of this. And not that I wouldn't pay, because I'm a great tipper. I take pride in my tips. You give me great service, and you're going to be surprised at the end of that interaction, right? I'm like, I can't do this. I'm out. But I let them know before I left why I wasn't paying for any of it. I can't pay for this. And I'm not coming back. And I had friends that were having a party maybe a year later at Red Robin. I'm like, I can't go there. It was a completely different location. I'm like, I can't go there. It sucks. The service is horrible, and the food was cold. And and I went on, and they said, please join us. Please join us. It's my treat. And so I did. And I did let them come and serve me, and it was a different experience. But do you see what it means? What I'm saying to you? We have 9 locations of Andiamos. Plus, we have a Jomier, 2 Jomiers. We have one in Bloomfield Hills and one downtown. So if somebody has a bad experience in Sterling Heights, for example, and then they come out to Livonia, are they going to think they're going to get the same thing there? You really are. You're thinking, you know what, this is a chain. They don't know that we're a family. A lot of people that don't know, they think Andiamos is a chain. It's a family-owned business. How many of you know that Cracker Barrel is not a chain? They are not a chain, and they are all over the United States of America, and they are a family-owned business. They will never go into a chain. That's their standard, right? So if they're not consistent in the way they deliver their food and the way their people deliver their food, you're not going to go on that trip and stop at Cracker Barrel anymore, right? And they're on every I-75, every I-94, you name the interstate, and they're right off that exit. They have it down pat. So the same thing with Andiamo. or Joe Muir. If they go to one of our locations and they're not being served the way we need to serve them, they're not going to come back to any of the other restaurants. They're not going to give us that opportunity. And so if a customer is complaining and bringing a complaint to you, what do? You welcome it. We'll talk about that. So with the guest service excellence and why it's important is because it builds a positive rapport. It works as an interactive tool between our guests and our team members. That's what it does. Guest service excellence, an interactive tool. Who thought about it that way? It's exactly what it is. Fosters an outstanding reputation and image of the Vic Erie Restaurant Group. We don't just want to be mediocre. We all said that we were outstanding at the beginning of class, right? We are representing Andiamo, and guess what? Andiamo is representing us. They're already delivering on the product. They're giving us every tool that we need to ride on their curtail. Do you know what I mean when I say that? They've already done the work for us. Now it's our turn to do it for them. Guest service excellence ensures trust from our guests and each other and promotes loyalty. If you're not giving guest service excellence, you're not going to get that loyalty. And in fine dining, this is one thing about fine dining. You have people who want to be pampered and have the money that says so, right? They know that, and to me, we give our food away. To me, we give our food away because it's all homemade, in-house, made with love every single day. And so our price points, if somebody's complaining about that, that's their problem because it is worth more than what we're charging on our menu. And what makes it worth more, Sabina? That's right. All of our steaks, tell me about, finish that sentence. All of our steaks are cut in-house. They're tenderized in-house, right? Wet and dry aged. And what does that do to the meat? Tenderizes it. Oh, amazing. How many restaurants are doing that? Right, not many. So we have, and you're gonna learn about that tomorrow. I'm so excited for your training this week. You are absolutely gonna be blown away, just blown away. Oh, did everyone get those? I can leave it. You still writing on it?
Yeah, you can go.
Okay, let me know when you're ready. But we want to promote that loyalty. We want to cater to people who want to come back. When I was in Livonia, I was there 2 weeks consistently, and at the bar area, where the same customers were at that bar area the next time I came in. It was like cheers. And they were all chatting it up and saying hi to each other and talking about this play that they'd been to, and and they knew each other. And it was jam-packed in the bar area. I was like, wow, isn't this cool? And I didn't expect to come back in and see those same faces again, ordering these fabulous cocktails, right? Those are some high price points right there. Want to get those up? Are we ready to move to the next slide? Please. Yes. Okay, you're welcome. And also, this is going to be on your training website. Andiamo has a training website. You'll all have your own passwords too. And I believe when you signed in, you put your email address. If you did not, make sure you put your email address so we can get you signed in, okay? So how does the journey to success look? What is our road? Consistency. That's what we talked about. Excellent service, creating memorable moments. It's a mouthful. Delivering on the warm and fuzzies are the most powerful catalysts for loyalty and trust. Brand recognition and reputation. That right there is why Andiamo and Joe Muir Seafood are so successful. And we are carrying on that legend. right? How many of you knew about Andiamo before you applied to work here? Raise your hand. Annabelle, you didn't know a thing about it. You didn't find out until you came aboard, right? And when you came aboard, you were like, wow, I didn't know that. Same here. I knew a little bit about it because my aunt and uncle used to come here all the time. I dined here. One of my most memorable moments was at Andiamo, Dearborn. It was my birthday, and the gentleman I was dating at the time took me to Andiamo for my birthday. We sat next to the fireplace, had a wonderful filet mignon with the zip sauce. Oh, my mouth's watering just thinking about it. It was so absolutely gorgeous. And I didn't know this was the day he chose to break up with me. All right? but Andiamo saved the day. And let me tell you how they did that. So he just came back from Vegas, and I'm thinking he's going to bring me a birthday present, a little something back from Vegas, something, right? Nothing. I'm like looking around like, where's my gift? There's nothing. maybe it's in the car. And so then after dinner was over, I seen he was getting a little bit nervous because now Mary Beth, that intuition's kicking in, right? Like, what's going on here? And so before we left, I thought, well, I'm going to get my birthday cake, and it's going to be so delicious, and I can't wait for the dessert. So the waiter came up to the table. He said, will you be having dessert today? And my date said, no, we're ready for the check. I said, oh, hold on, it's my birthday. I said, what do you recommend, sir, for dessert? He said, oh, and he went on to talk about the tiramisu and everything. He brought the dessert platter over. My eyes popped out of my head. I just wanted everything on that platter. It was absolutely a work of art. So I went with the tiramisu, and he's seen that I was a little bit upset with my date, right? But I wasn't trying to let it show. I was trying to be classy. So he took my order, and he came out with a candle, bent down on one knee, presented it to me, and sang "Happy Birthday." Aww. And I was just like falling in love with him. And it was so absolutely beautiful. And he presented it, and he said, "Happy birthday, enjoy." He didn't bring a crowd out. He did it. And so I ate my tiramisu, and it was time to go. My server, seeing that we were getting up to leave, went all the way over to the door. Before my date could open my door for me, he opened the door for me. He opened the door for me. Then he let it kind of hit my date. And then he went out, because we had the car valet, and he went out to the car, and he opened my door. Not the valet, the server. And he said, once again, I would like to wish you a happy birthday. Happy birthday. It's like you got the memo. Like, this guy's about to break up with you. And I'm sorry for that. But it was the most awesome experience. A night that was not so memorable on the other side of things. I will never, ever forget how I was made to feel at Andiamo that night. And I'll tell that story until I go to my grave. I was telling that story before I even started working here with people that would, ask about Andiamo in Dearborn. And I would let them know it's amazing. So that's what these stories to success are all about. And and this gentleman, I don't even know if he's still working at Andiamo or if he's moved on to bigger, better things, but I know that I'll never forget that. And it's the attention to the detail. The attention to the detail makes you sit up and take a notice. And it's all about the little extra courtesies and comforts that we build into the service experience. And that server built that in there. And it was natural for him. It wasn't like he was trying to get noticed. It was such a natural, this is what I do kind of thing. And this is how I do it. It's like he was coaching my friend. This is how you do it. So it was awesome. And then it's, of course, personalized service. And to me, this is all just one word. It's all the same thing. Consistency, attention to detail, and personalized service. That's all the same thing at the end of the day. So how do you make that work in the back of the house, Matt? You're like, how does this apply to me? It applies in the back of the house the same way in the front of the house. So if you're back there and you're prepping, and this is what I tell everyone who cooks. How many of you cook at home? Raise your hand. Never cook if you're unhappy. Why? You can't taste the love, Ramona says.
It's true.
And it will taste horrible. Missy, I'm a witness. I am a witness. I will not go into my kitchen and cook unless I'm happy. Especially if I know it's something that I'm going to love, like chicken Italiano. Love making that. If it's something that I love, if I'm making lasagna, I'm going in there happy. I'm playing happy music. I'm just making it a happy place. Mom, that lasagna was amazing, right? Or Mom, that, whatever it is that I'm cooking, that's amazing. Because if you're not happy, Kayla, making or prepping, or Cliff, how's that food going to come out?
Good.
Not as good. Exactly. So we need to take it. So when you're going back there, servers, where are my servers? And you're yelling at the cooks because maybe it didn't come out quite right. And they're getting upset, like, how could you insult me that way? Right? We want to also think about our presentation to our team members, to always keep them happy so our food is always tasting good, right? So how does that work with the dishwashers? Well, the dishwashers can set the climate in the whole place, and they have a job that is thankless at the end of the day, or at least it can be made to feel thankless because that is non-stop. And to be able to have those dishes come out clean and dry and beautiful every guest, every time, right? Because you don't wipe it. If there's food on that plate and it comes out, don't wipe it off and dry it off and give it to me. I don't want it. I want it to be immaculate. But all of those things make a difference. They all make a difference. So how do we personalize that? Today, delivery, amazing service is not enough. You must deliver amazing, personalized service. So if you're just delivering amazing service, you're not going to cut it. But if you're delivering amazing, personalized service, guess what you've just done? As a server, you've built a customer. How many of you go into a restaurant and you ask for the same server every time you come in? Yes, my parents do. They eat out often. And they want to go because so-and-so has said she's going to be working tonight. We're going up there to see Katie. She's going to be there. We're going up there to see Ramona. She's going to be there tonight. She says she's going to be working the bar and she makes the best cocktails in the world. She takes dirty martini. Oh my gosh, yes, with some blue cheese stuffed olives. Thank you very much. That sounds so good. Oh my gosh. 3, please. But that's what you want to remember. So write that down. If you're not delivering amazing personalized service, you're not delivering the kind of service that's going to bring your own clientele back, that's going to ask for you by name. How many of you give out your business cards? Raise your hand. Absolutely.
We're gonna have it. Yeah, we're gonna get it.
You will have business cards. You write your name on it. You hand it to them with the check. Thank you so much for joining us for dinner this evening. It's been my pleasure. Please come back again. I'm going to be working this Saturday and this Thursday, and I would love to see you back here. You know, that might be 3 or 4 days away, but guess what? They're not going to come in back to back to back to back. Some of them will. But they're going to know Thursday and Saturday. She said she's going to be there. I'm there. I'm in her section. Yeah. And they do that. Absolutely do that. Oh, do you need me to leave it alone or do you need to? Okay. All right. So, how many of you are familiar with Maya Angelou? Isn't she awesome? A philosopher, a great woman. And this is one of my favorite quotes by Maya Angelou. I've learned that people will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel. It's about feeling. We are living in a feeling world. In fact, my son said to me last night, don't tell me how I feel. I'm sorry, buddy. Wasn't trying to tell you how you feel. I didn't even realize that I was even saying anything that had to do with his feelings, but that's how he interpreted it. And so you have to remember today, when you leave here, you're not going to remember anything that I said, probably. But one thing you're going to do is you're going to remember how I made you feel. That is what I want you to remember about Marie Therese. Because at the end of the day, how I made you feel, you're going to take and make somebody else feel that same way today. Right? That's going to flow. It just does. You can't stop it. It just happens that way. So service excellence standards. Let's talk about what those standards look like. Acknowledge all guests and team members. What does that mean? Maintain your appearance. That's a good standard to have. Demonstrate teamwork. Communicate professionally. We know back at the house has their own language. You can just be as charming as a peach and walk to the back and be like, oh, what the blah 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 and blah blah. How many have experienced that? More than that are willing to admit. I've seen it. I didn't know that world existed, but I do now. We want to make each interaction memorable, satisfy our guest requests and complaints, be knowledgeable. That's why we're here doing these classes. Keep our guests and our property safe. Oh, let me go back. We're going to talk about each one of those. We're going to break them out a little bit and talk about each one. But these are the basic 8 standards that every business model should follow in the hospitality industry. Everything from a hotel to a restaurant needs to be following these standards. So we're going to break these out a little bit. We're going to talk about them. They're all very, very important to know. Oh, has such beautiful handwriting. And some of these standards that you see here, you may not even think about them, but you uphold them and you do them every single day. So no matter if you're working in the office, or if you're working in the dish room, or you're working as a server, or you're working in banquets, we're wearing hats for all of these standards every single day. Every single day. Do you mind if I move to the next slide, ladies? Almost done. And like I said, it will be on the training website as well. And I can also go back and let you copy some of these slides later on if you'd like. So now, we're going to talk about what it means to acknowledge all guests and team members. What does it mean to acknowledge all guests and team members, Abe? What does that mean for you?
I'm sorry.
I know, I'm trying to wake you up here. You're shaking off.
I'm sorry, what'd you ask?
Acknowledging all guests and team members. Did I just acknowledge Gabe?
Yeah.
Abe, rather?
Yeah, you acknowledged by my name.
Abe, yep, you acknowledged by the name. And working together.
Everybody by their names.
And that's important. And that's important. In all different cultures, there's different ways that we acknowledge each other. So can I acknowledge you without saying a word? Mm-hmm. How do I do that? Smile. Smile. Give a nod. I see you. There's a tribe in Africa that when they see you and they say hello to you, they say salabona. And it means I see you. And I see you. I'm bringing you into existence. And their response means, I am here. I see you. I see you. And so I think it's so beautiful because you're saying, I acknowledge you, I value you, I see you, I appreciate you. How many of you have seen that guest that never tips, always complains, and they're grouchy? Yeah, we've all seen that one. You're like, oh, no, I'm not here. Please don't see them in my section, right? But I'm going to tell you another story because I'm a storyteller and I think these stories are so important because you learn from them. So as a table games dealer, I treated everyone the same way. So if you were a $5 player, you were getting that same level of service as a multi-billionaire. If you were that player that never tipped me, I was treating you the same way as if you tipped me $40,000 in 2 days. And that's the truth. I'll get to that one later. Highest tips ever made. $40,000 in 2 days by one person. Yeah. BMW. Or at least a down payment. Now, the thing of it is, with every person, whether you don't want to see them or you do want to see them, they don't have to know the difference. And I remember dealing cards for this one gentleman, and I was treating him awesome. And he would bring in his team. He owned a business. He would bring in his team, and he would make them gamble. And I said, well, what are you doing, Bob? Are you trying to make them earn their Christmas bonus? And he said, yep, that's what I'm trying to do. I said, good luck, gentlemen. I go, let's get them paid. And so I would do that. And then the Baccarat table, the dealers watching me, they would say, on break, Marie-Therese, why are you treating him so kind? You know he doesn't tip. He's not going to tip you. You're not getting a thing out of him. You're wasting your energy. I said, well, that's okay. I don't mind. I'm having fun, regardless. Next thing you know, I get back and I said, Bob, why do you keep putting your money on that hand when it's losing? I go, why don't you put it on the other hand? Because he was playing 3 hands at about $10,000 each. And so he did. He moved his money around. He's like, okay, let me take this one down and let me move this one up. I'm like, but don't, I can't give advice, but do what you want to do. I'm just saying, it's obvious. I said, look at the cards. Next thing you know, boom, those hands started hitting. $10,000 a pop. He was raking in $20,000 to $40,000 at a time. Next thing you know, he throws me $800. What did I do? Drop the money and wave to the Baccarat table. Because you can't listen to what other people are telling you. When you're delivering and you're delivering consistency and you're not changing because somebody else said something or they're trying to sway you, you keep doing what you do and do the best that you can do because it's all going to come to you. It's a rule. It's a rule. This law of attraction, right? That is a fact. I live by that. And so you want to make sure you're acknowledging your guest every single time, whether they are horrible or they're beautiful. We had this one gentleman, he would come in, his hands were bigger than my head. In his country, he was a boxer, and I'm quite sure he must have killed some people in his career. Huge, big man. And when he would come in, all the dealers would cower, and they would look away, and they would run, and they would hide because he was an angry man, and he was not, a good man to, have sitting at your table. But when he would come in, I would say, how are you? Good to see you today. What's going on? And I would already have the lowdown. He's playing at the craps table. He's losing big money. So I was like, where have you been all day? He's like, oh, been blah, 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 over at the craps table. I go, oh, everybody knows they're taking money today. I go, why don't you sit down at my table? I've been giving it away all day. Was I giving it away all day? No. What was I doing? I was selling that hope. That hope. He was getting rid of the static. He was relaxing. He was coming back into himself. And what did he do? He started winning money. He started to win again. And so when I say those things, and he always loved to see me. He would always say, where's Marie-Therese? I need to see her. I was like his therapy. But at the same time, he would always tip me out at the end of the day. And people that I worked with, they couldn't figure it out. They said, Marie-Therese, you have some kind of magic. But it's not magic, it's about consistency. It's about treating people well, regardless of how they respond or how they're acting. You still treat them well. I think that's beautiful when you can do those things. So we want to make sure that we're always acknowledging our guests, even our team members, the people that we work with every single day. That's huge. That's huge. It's like sending somebody to work, and it's their very first day, and them being made not to feel comfortable. How horrible is that? Marie-Therese, I felt horrible. Everyone was staring at me today, and so I quit. Yeah, You don't ever want to hear those words as a recruiter. So we want to make sure that we're speaking internally and externally. Using their name. Do we use our guest's first name or last name? Our co-workers' first names or last names? How do we determine that?
On your relationship with them, like
On your relationship with that. So if we're just seeing that guest for this first time, how do we handle that? Siobhan, is it Siobhan?
yes.
Siobhan, how do you handle meeting a guest for the first time and you want them to feel warm and welcome for you? What do you do to get to know their name? You simply ask them. Another good way is this. Hello, my name's Marie Therese. Welcome. So good to see you today. We've been expecting you. And they're looking like, you have? Sure we have. We've been expecting you. I used to love to say that. So what you do is you create your language, your beautiful language, even if it's a team member. So if I get over there to Cliff and I say, hey, Cliff, it's so good to see you today, man. I know you pulled a double last night. Thank you so much for coming in. Look, you've been working hard. I appreciate you. I'm not trying to make this class a painful class. Do you know what I mean? But I see, Cliff, you've been working hard. And so that matters. To acknowledge each other matters. It does matter. I sent a deaf man to work in Fenton. Do you know who I'm talking about?
Super sweet.
We love Nicholas, don't we? He is an awesome guy. He is an awesome guy. But to see him for the first time and you don't know that he's deaf, you might think he's trying to be rude. He never talks. Oh, it's because he's deaf. Or he's hard of hearing. Like me, I can't see far at a distance. So somebody might think I'm ignoring them if they wave to me and I just don't see them. Do you know what I mean? So there's what's called the 5-foot, 10-foot rule. Have you heard of that? When somebody comes within 10 feet of you, you look at them, you acknowledge them, and you smile. Within 5 feet, that's when you say hello. Hello, good to see you. So nice to see you today. Welcome back. Glad you could make it. Will you be joining us for dinner tonight? That's how you want to speak with them. How can you find out a team member's name or a guest's name? Some of the ways.
You get a chit.
Get a chit. You said introduce. Siobhan said introduce. We said chit. What else?
Sometimes when you can't shout, I leave it credit.
That's what I do too. Beautiful. That's what I want to hear right there. You read that credit card and you say, welcome back. What about the Millie Grazzi program? We're going to talk about that. How many of you are familiar with that program? We'll talk a little bit more about that because I think it's important for our back of the house to know as much as the front of the house. So that's why I'm talking to you as well. I want you to know what we have to offer. So we can introduce ourselves. We can ask politely. We can look on a reservation, right? Danielle, you're our hostess? Yeah, you look at that reservation and welcome them immediately. The host or the hostess always has the answer. They have the chit, right? And we want to make sure that we speak first and we speak last. Mike, why is that important to speak first and last?
Because you're to get on a good term, on a good point.
Right, they're coming to our house. Has anybody, well, I don't really want to ask it that way, come into your house that you don't greet them? Even if you say, what are you doing here? I wasn't expecting you today. You say, hello, how are you? Good to see you. Welcome. Right? So if they're leaving your house, you just let them leave and nobody says anything to anybody? You just walk out? Unless it's your 18-year-old son. It's like, Colin, where are you? I'm at my friend's house. I didn't hear you leave. But if it's a guest, you're going to walk them to the door and you're going to say goodbye. Right? So what is it that you can do over and above? And I was just out in Fenton, and I actually seen the server taking a picture of their guests, wanted the server to take the picture. Was that you, Kayla?
I actually did just recently do that.
Over the last weekend. It was last Saturday. Yeah, and I thought that was you. I did, because I know, because wine was being poured by Adam, and then you were behind him and you were taking the picture. And it looked like they were maybe on a first date because they were sitting across from each other on the table, and she was taking their picture. So it's the little things like that that's really making the difference. That is a huge thing to do. But we want to say, thank you for joining us tonight. When do you think you'll be back? Or you want to find out what their plans are? Are they traveling? Fenton, you can get people traveling along that road there a lot. So, acknowledging all guests and team members, being well-spoken and eloquent. What does it mean to be well-spoken?
Use proper grammar.
To use proper grammar. So, manners. Exactly. So do we walk up to our table and say, hey, what's up?
No.
What you doing? How's it going tonight? Yeah, good to see you. I'm from the South and I was raised in the hood, so I have that sassy kind of personality. You're coming to my house, I might say it that way. But I've trained myself to speak eloquently. Hello, Kelly. It's so good to see you today. Thank you for coming, Sam. Ladies, we do appreciate you. Honestly, it is an honor for you to be here in our classroom today. We get to see our catering and service side of things. That's important to me. So, can I talk like a street, person? Absolutely. But can I also speak eloquently? So we have to be that chameleon. We have to be able to say, and it's not that you're fake. It's just that now I'm speaking a different language. I'm the same person I'm speaking English as I am speaking Spanish, right? It's just a different culture. It's a different slang. But we have to have our eloquent words. Hello, how are you today? Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Good to see you again, Mr. Vicari. Welcome back, Mrs. Vicari. You definitely want to know those faces. How may I assist you? Doesn't that sound better than what can I get you? Even though that's comfortable, that would make me feel good. What can I get you today, Marie Therese? Oh, I'm gonna have a Benzino. So good. So let's look at this. How we form impressions. How much time does it take for somebody to form an impression, Lauren?
It's the first thing you say to them. Like, as soon as you go over that, that's your impression. That's what they'll remember by you.
That immediately is what you're saying. It takes 6 seconds for somebody to form an impression about you. You all formed an impression about me within your first 6 seconds of seeing me today. Some of you were right, and some of you were like, hey, that's a little bit different than I expected. She has a different kind of personality. But usually it's within that first 6 seconds. So let's take a look at the pie chart and see how we measure that. 10% is verbal, what we say. So even though I'm doing a lot of talking, you're not going to remember me by the words I'm speaking. Maybe my accent, but not the words I'm speaking. How we say it is 40%. So whether we're speaking slang or we're eloquent, that's what you're going to remember more than the words. And then 50% is how we look when we say it. So you can say, with a different look on your face, tell me your impression. Good morning. It's so good to see you today. I'm so glad you came to work. Or you can say, oh my goodness, it's so good to see you today. I'm so glad you came to work. Are you feeling better? Right? They were sick. So, or you could be like, so good to see you today. Feeling better? Like they just played hooky for 3 days while you were stressing out, working doubles. But you do always want to show genuine concern. Always want to show genuine concern. So how we look when we say it matters. We never want to roll our eyes or look bored, right? We want to make sure that our guests know. So let's look at that. 10% is what we say. So instead of saying, hey, what's up? Man, dude, dear, or honey. How many of us use terms of endearment? There's a lot of people that do. Yeah. Honey, what can I get you, honey? Yeah, things like that. Instead, what are some things that we can say? Because sometimes terms of endearment, I don't want to an 18-year-old calling me honey for whatever reason. As an older woman, I want to be called. You can call me ma'am. I was raised down south where yes ma'am and no ma'am were, that was it. No sir, yes sir, no sir, that was it. That showed the highest form of respect for that person. It had nothing to do with age. Not a thing to do with age. So you want to remember those things. Yes ma'am. I say that to a very young lady. Yes ma'am. No ma'am. Yes sir. I say that to my dishwashers all the way up to my presidents. Yes sir, how are you? I think that's important because that makes people feel that respect that you want. So instead we can say good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to Andiamo. Welcome back. So good to see you today. Sir, ma'am, Mr., Mrs., Miss. All very, very, very polished words. Instead of saying, do you need anything? What else do you need? You can say that with a smile. What else do you need? Do you need anything else? I mean, feels good. Do you need anything else? Will that be all?
Yeah.
What does that sound like? If I come up to you, Denise, and I say, will that be all?
You just cut it off.
Just cut you off. Just gave you your bill. Will that be all? Sticking it down there in front of you. I'm saying you need to hurry up because there's a line at the door and I need to get people into my section. Will that be all? Okay, great, great. Good to see you today. Take care.
Anything else?
Yep, rushing you out. Don't rush me. You know what? Can I get a dessert menu and a cup of coffee? And a cocktail. Because I might be here a little bit longer. Do you know what I mean? So those are all rushing you. I changed it. Rushing you away. And it can also leave a really bad impression. So instead of those things, what can we say that's more polished and eloquent? Missy, I know you have something you say.
Miss.
Miss. Yes. How may I assist you? How may I assist you? What may I assist you with? Is there anything else I may assist you with? Those are hard to say. Those are tongue twisters. How many of you speak this way? Annabelle, how may I assist you? That's almost like a tongue twister. I practice it on the dog. Kino, is there anything else I may assist you with?
Kino.
Yeah. Well, he's a rescue. He came with that name. But do you know what I mean? You practice those words that you're not used to saying. And you practice them and you practice them and you become the master at your craft, your art, your eloquence, your fine dining. You are the definition of fine dining. When I look at fine dining in the dictionary, Siobhan, I see your face. There you are. Beautiful. Cliff, I see your face. Fine dining. Matt, I see your face. That's right, Michelle. Right there next to fine dining. That's what we're talking about. Is there anything else I may assist you with? See how polished that sounds? And they're just like, oh, yeah. She has great grammar, right? Because what is our clientele? We are catering to a very educated clientele. We are catering to a clientele that travels the world. How do we feel when we're on vacation? Remind me of your first name.
Kate.